готовности. Fire at will. Огонь по готовности.
Alla till mig!
Огонь по готовности.
Nerf this!
Огонь по готовности.
Alla till mig!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show. We are live from the Blizzard Arena, and we had a heck of a day here in LA. Welcome, everybody. It's your host, Chris Puckett. I've got my whole team, not just Zoe. I've got more targets. We've got Bren. We've got Sideshow. Guys, we wrapped up a pretty awesome Pride Day. What do you think, Zoe?
I mean, waving flags, the audience has been absolutely amazing. So I thought
Yeah.
last year was insane. This year even topped that. So I hope for a third year, really.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on the show on the Pride Day for once. I remember watching from home last time, being immensely jealous of all the pins that everyone was getting, and yeah, so it's nice to be here working on the same day.
Yeah, these are little beauties, the little London Spitfire ones that they were handing out to some people as well. Little, yeah, I don't know whether you can quite see that, but it looks beautiful
Probably
from
not.
where I am.
The team that you said would disappoint you today. We'll talk about them in just a bit. For now, we got to jump
bring
into
that.
the match we just finished. Of course, that was the Gladiators going up against the Dallas Fuel. And as you watched in the first half, Dallas looking pretty good, but then the Gladiators took over. And in the second half, guys, let's talk about what we saw here on Hollywood. So, what were you looking out for in the second half?
I mean, honestly, it was still kind of all Los Angeles' game. Dallas, they had a few moments of brilliance, but they really only recovered towards the end of that very map. Only on point 3, they kind of managed to stall the Gladiators a little bit. Overall, though, the Gladiators were just so much more cohesive. Like, I don't know, Dallas Fuel just didn't get much value out of anything they had, especially not out of their Sombra.
And even while making changes with their lineup as well, we haven't really seen Shofor on Brigitte all that much, and he comes in and he actually performs to a pretty decent level, and it allows them a bit more flexibility because Shofor has a little bit of a wider hero pool, or a more specifically useful hero pool in this meta.
Havana was an interesting one, though. We saw this card getting pushed a reasonable amount. Gladiators actually managing to close out the map as well, which is a rarity.
First, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean,
literally the first time it's happened in Overwatch League.
it is.
I mean,
There
we've
also
only
have
seen the
not
map.
been many times.
It's like
yeah.
1 out of 2. That's
Played.
pretty good.
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3. So
1 out of 3.
But again-
33%, I'll take it.
I think this series as well just shows how hard it really can be to push through this this warehouse section here. You know, what is this? A brewery? I'm not too sure. Like, there's something going on.
Yeah,
What do
I
you think the
it's-
key is here? Is it like win an early team fight and then stomp them again at the front door? What do you think the strategy will be on Havana as we move forward?
Oh, it's difficult. I think Sombra Ghost might be the key, honestly, using EMP to try and break through the choke point.
I think that I was thinking about that a little bit more though, and there aren't really that many avenues to be able to get great EMPs because there's so
Sure.
much stuff in the way. So I don't really know. I think you might have hit on it that you really need to win fights early on and carry that momentum through. Otherwise, if you get stalled up, it's just gonna be bad for you.
That's how it seems to work in my plat games. We'll see if that transfers to the Overwatch League. Let's talk about
Probably.
another great match, arguably the best match of the day, and without a doubt, the most shocking. The Houston Outlaws went the distance against the NYXL, who only had 2 losses coming into this match.
This was a match that you know, we all expected it to be a bit one-sided. The Houston Outlaws are coming off 0-7 right now in stage 2. Weren't expecting much from them, and they turned up, honestly. The Houston Outlaws, I think they had a game plan coming into this. They learned from their previous series as well, where they played against New York. They were playing a scared passive. I remember Super was kind of shouting at Dante, saying, why are you so scared? Why are you playing so scared? Well, this time, they turned it around on their heads, playing a mixture of compositions as well that you can see here.
I loved what we saw, though, from both teams. I think both teams managed to take the other one teams by surprise, seeing Linkster on that Zarya, something we haven't really seen before. And of course, Sebjolvi on that Sombra, definitely a little bit unique. It took him some maps to warm up, let's be frank here. I don't think he necessarily played well in this series, but it still was enough to actually throw the Houston Outlaws off, because they really struggled to deal
Good
with
to see him back on the stage overall. Also good to see Numbani back in the mix, but this is where we saw the Outlaws with the chance to really put NYXL on the back foot.
And I like the fact that we saw some different crafted stuff from the Houston Outlaws, as well as them playing a bunch of Sombra Goats. And for the NYXL, it was just a little confusing. It looked like Sebiobi was learning how to play Sombra within these comps as the game went on. He literally was getting better kind of as the series progressed, which is strange. And we saw comps that we don't normally see from New York, like the one that's on your screen at the moment. But overall, I think this proved to Houston fans, Houston critics, that there are different compositions that they're able to run and have success. They don't just have to play triple time, triple support all the time.
Yeah, I think the Houston Outlaws, they're probably going to be disappointed, obviously, with this result, because they came so close to it. But it's at the end of the day, it's good stuff to work off of. They've shown their potential here. The one thing I don't want them to get into is their own heads with this as well, because often I feel like, just speaking from my knowledge of these players and talking to them, they seem like they can get in their own heads when it comes to losses like this, and maybe just start to take the momentum out of their way. I feel like you can't don't let this series get you down,
Yeah, I would look at this as a big win. You went to a Game 5. You showed everyone that you can beat New York XL on multiple maps.
Yeah.
And if they can beat NYXL, think of the other 16 teams that are below the NYXL that you could cause problems for.
We should be motivational coaches. For
One day. One day.
cheering them.
It's like a quality loss.
Motivational coaches on the 5th map, though, because this is yet another choked 5th map from the Houston Outlaws. There's something mentally going wrong here when they get to the 5th.
Can we look at that Widowmaker crit hit accuracy from Linkster, 39%. Love to see the snipers coming back into play. Nene put on a show on Tracer a little bit earlier. If you missed this match, go back and watch it. I was very surprised by the quality.
Yeah, I want to take a look more deeply at Sebiobi playing that Sombra as well, because it's not something we've seen from New York. Sebiobi's only played one map prior to this. Here are his stats as Sombra versus the Houston Outlaws. I don't think that he was necessarily having a great game. I don't know whether this is a style that New York are going to try and run with. It has been very popular in kind of the contenders region, but the question mark is still there. New York proved last stage that they could go toe-to-toe with the Vancouver Titans, and yes, they lost that match, but it was pretty close. And Sebiobi, it's great to see him come off the bench, but I'm not sure that this is the style for them. New York looked sloppy today. They were making a lot of mistakes, and they looked like they didn't quite know how to work around Sebiobi on Sombra as well
How
as
long
they
does
would
it
normally
take
do.
to get this team in a comfortable place on the Sombra Goats? Because Meko was running Sombra in the past, but now he's back, of course, on that Diva.
Yeah, that's another weird thing. The first game of the season when they played against Boston, it was Meko that played the Sombra. If you're going to do that, why not keep Meko in?
Do you think that it's because they're stylistically, they've kind of realized that they might be weaker compared to the more aggressive teams, that they're just like flexing now, they're trying to work out?
I don't even know whether it's against the aggressive teams. I think they're fine against the aggressive teams. It's the slow teams that like to run Sombra Goats themselves that are the problem. Atlanta, Seoul, these are the teams that have caused real trouble for New York. So I think adding the Sombra in is their answer to teams that they would normally struggle with by just slowing down the whole pace of gameplay, and at least you'll have an EMP if they have an EMP, because New York actually really struggle with pushing aggressively.
So I want you to answer this one with your heart, not your brain.
Oh boy.
Do you want to see more Sebiobi here in stage 3?
Yes, just not necessarily on Sombra.
Play Tracer.
Play Tracer.
Bring her back.
You coward.
Bring her back. Bring Tracer back, you coward. Brigitte, never be afraid of her. Guys, we're heading to a quick break. When we come back, we got a lot of new faces to talk about from teams like London, Boston, and Toronto. It's the Watchpoint Post Show. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. while we celebrate Pride Day here in the Blizzard Arena, there were some great watch parties happening around the world. Zoe, who is celebrating with us today?
Well, we just saw the London Gamers. Now we're here at the Hard Rock Cafe in Boston. Queer Geek Seattle also had a great old time today. And the Boston Gamers also quite high attendance there. Love it. Those flags go really well with the Boston Uprising colors. Just saying, like that. Actually, the rainbow stands out even more.
I love the people
Loved
in
it.
fancy dress at the front as well, like actually wearing Boston stuff, like the blue suit with the yellow trim. That looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, it really did. No, but I mean, I think people around the world watching had a great old time. There was a lot of Twitter interactions also with the Pride Day, which was wonderful to see. So thanks a lot to everyone who has been joining us here as well as out there.
And a big shout out to all the volunteers who helped organize this. This was not a one-person effort to get it done all over the world. Very impressive stuff. And as you can see, we're celebrating our Pride with these awesome Blizzard Pride pins, which you can also pick up yourself over at gear.blizzard.com. And the best part of this, guys, is the proceeds from the pin sales will be donated to the Trevor Project. If you don't know about it, it's the world's largest suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for LGBTQ young people. It's awesome stuff. Let's get behind it. With that said, we got more video games to talk about right now, including a rematch of the Boston Tea Party. This time, my American friends, we lost.
You did, yeah. You did indeed.
Oh, well, there was an inside man. It was an inside job.
Fusions! Come on, buddy!
Well, I mean, I was the only one on dress today to predict London because I had faith that they weren't going to be inconsistent,
though?
and they weren't.
You were really unsure about picking.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I was
you
usually
flipped the
You were
coin
not
backstage in front of our producer.
Yeah,
That's how
that's
you
right.
chose
You
the
actually
winning
flipped
team.
the coin.
I flipped the coin for the Gladiators Dallas game.
Yeah,
That's
flipped
what I
two
did.
coins.
You lost that one.
I lost that one.
It is weird though, because in hindsight, it kind of seems like, okay, you know, you would have expected London to win this one. But it really, whenever you're thinking about London, you never really know which
Well,
team's going to turn up.
Also, they were coming off the back of the end of stage 2, which wasn't impressive. They lost to Chengdu and they ended up losing to Hangzhou.
All right, question for you, Brent. How do you say this Lucio's name?
Oh, Quartermain.
You throw the R in there?
No, Quarter.
Quarter?
Quartermain.
Quarter?
I don't
I'm
know
not even
about
saying
that.
they are. Quarter.
I think it's just pronounced quarter, man.
No, I don't think
Quarter.
so.
We're going to figure this out by
Whatever.
tomorrow. We apologize for our failed efforts tonight. I don't think anyone expected him to be in the starting lineup over Nuss already.
Yeah, that's
London not afraid to bring out some new players, and neither is Boston. We saw 2 new supports in the lineup.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
really sure why that was.
for Boston or
a
for
sales
London? I
pitch.
mean, both actually. I think both were a little bit interesting. I didn't expect either. Quartermain also, I don't think he had a huge impact, neither negatively nor positively. He played fairly passive, very, very team-oriented, but overall, didn't really see much change versus when Nuss is in the lineup.
Which is a good thing, you know,
guess
for,
so, yeah.
for London, especially considering that I think when you take out your Lucio player who might be doing a bunch of the calling, not 100% sure, it's normally Bedosian and Gesture that do a lot of it for London, but when they look this good, with Quartermain in the lineup, this seems like a pretty good lineup for London.
In the
now it's just
post-game-
about finding consistency.
Right, exactly. In the post-game interview that Quartermain had with Danny, he said that, you know, he might not be more intelligent than us in terms of the calling, but individually, his individual performance was his, I mean, it's Danny's words, not me. You know? I don't claim to know Korean, but he said that his individual skill on Lucio is better, is what he believes, and that's why they fielded him in that regard. I mean, it's a mechanical thing as opposed to the big brain thing. You know?
And we know that for the long play, we're just starting the second half of the season. Players can go down, they could get sick. I think it's really smart to see a lot of these rosters not only bringing on new players, but starting to field them. Let's talk about a few more new players that were shown today from the Toronto Defiant. They matched up against the Paris Eternal, and I was so fired up on this first map. Everyone went with Paris today. I went with Toronto, and God,
How did that
he
go?
had me pumped up. He ate a grab. He bombed 3 players. They crushed the first round. They crushed the second round. They're up 1-0. I'm talking trash in the back, throughout all the hallways. And things just didn't go my way.
I mean,
Oh,
good
that
first
happens.
showing from Shark and Gods. I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree.
promising. I think you're coming into a Korean-speaking roster, speaking the language they don't speak, surprisingly enough, and you're still putting up a reasonable performance. And it's honestly, I've seen worst first games out of players.
It was
so.
really interesting, too, because on defense, they were playing dive defense with your tanks on the Winston and the Diva for a bit. I was really surprised to see Toronto going with that strategy, and they almost held Paris for the tie. Unfortunately, Paris tied things up at the half, and the second half was all theirs.
Yeah, pretty much. But it wasn't clean, honestly. That was, as you said, on Paris. It was very close and further into the game. Toronto Defiant, they can be proud of their performance today. I definitely think so. I do like that we see Sharek in the lineup over Yakpeng. I'm already very much convinced that that is a good swap they're doing. As we already pointed out, Gods had a lot of great moments. A lot of it came down to Aid as well. I do want to give Aid a special shout out. I do think he made a lot of fantastic setups for his team. Just really clever positionings.
I talked a little bit with the people behind the Toronto Defiant as well, and there are still some communication issues, as you would expect, going forwards with this team. They've had to transition from Korean into English. Their players are just beginning English lessons as well. Neko's played on a mixed team before, so has Aid. I'm 37, speaks fluent English, but I'm not too sure about Ivy, and they've got some stuff to work through. And also nerves as well from the Toronto Defiant. When things get nervous, then you end up trying to communicate a little bit more. Things get sloppy.
It's interesting though as well. A lot of people won't realize that you've got Gods and Sharek. These guys are veterans when it comes to Overwatch. These guys have been in the game since closed beta. Like, I remember we both commentated Sharek at the Takeover 2 event 2016. Gods has been in and out of the scene for the longest time, and I mean, he's a fantastic memer to boot.
He definitely is. That big bald head really packs some great meme brain in there.
So you mentioned earlier that you already think it's a good move to put Sharek in the lineup over Yakpeng. What did you think of Gods? Do you want to see this duo playing in the tank lineups moving forward for Toronto?
Absolutely. I think there was a lot of cohesion there already. And of course, that could also be partially down to the fact that at least Gods has been working with Bishop, their coach, in the past already when he was still on Cloud9. Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of like previous synergies we have going on for that team right now. I think that already is showing and coming through. And I mean, if the first performance looks that good, I definitely want to see more of that. It's been pretty impressive. Not to take anything away from Paris, I do think they did deserve that win, and they had very good set strats on those maps, so that definitely should be pointed out as well, since we now kind of only talked about the person who actually lost.
Yeah, but I think Toronto Defiant are more interesting because they look like they have more of a trajectory to improve. I mean, Paris Eternal, they did win this game, but they are running a fairly similar lineup to what they've done before, and they don't look like they've massively improved. The quality of the game here was not a large improvement from Paris, and they almost, well, I say almost lost. It was a 3-1 scoreline, but some of these maps are a little close.
They were close.
Do you think you will see a lot more Danye for Paris moving forward?
See, I'm very confused when it comes to that kind of stuff with Paris Eternal. I like they're swapping around between the Diva, Zombra, as well as the Zarya player, and then even the Briggs. It's quite a lot of swapping. I feel like they haven't really found their footing yet. It makes it for a lot of awkward moments when they have to swap around again. This case of musical chairs we've seen from Houston Outlaws in the past.
And you can see in the scores there below, it was 6-9 after that victory for Paris Eternal with their overall match score, and we're going to see a negative match score for the first time for the Toronto Defiant since stage 1. We're heading to a quick break. When we come back, we got the best moments of the day. It's the over-the-top moments here on the Watchpoint Post Show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
It's your favorite time of the day, and it's happening right now. It's the over-the-top moments here at number 5. Zoe, open this one up for us.
We already mentioned him. Gods looking like he's, you know, really having a good first day here on stage with a sick 3K bump there for his team.
Eats the grab and then blows up on him.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Welcome to the stage, Gods, in his very first round of his Overwatch League career. At number 4, Brad, it's your buddy Jake.
Oh, here he is. Look at him. He pressed Q. He's going to be boasting about this for weeks now. We're going to be hitting the local lemonade stands, and he's going to be saying, "You remember that moment where I got a 4K on Nambani? Was it a 4K?
Yeah, the EMP locked up 4, and he just punished them all. Love to see it.
Yeah, his head's going to be huge.
Hey, you got to play the bar.
In those local lemonades.
Number 3, Josh, it's your turn.
Yeah, I like this one. The little twofer at the end. This fight honestly could have gone the way of Dallas if the Showfall hadn't popped off here. Look at this. Cheeky. Takes down Zachary and Unco with
Wonderful.
one shot.
Can we watch it one more time?
I'll allow it.
You can.
You allow it?
1,
hits the ball,
2,
hits the ball of Sabra, hits the
3,
ball again, smacks a
4.
stranger,
That's a great shot.
and then a
5,
little corner
6.
shot.
Counting with Brent.
Love to see it, Brent. Great job. Number 2, I'll take this one. It's great. The Portuguese sniper gets off the Zenyatta and starts dishing out damage with the sniper rifle. Not the first time we've seen it, but it's awesome to see how frequently he can pull this out.
Yeah, but he might have actually saved the day there because I'm 37 had free range on everything, and out of all people, Gray swapping onto that Widowmaker, clicking heads, it was great.
And there's no better time of year than Pride Day in the Blizzard Arena. We had so many great fans traveling from all over the world to attend. Some of them got a chance to play games, and most of them sadly ended up with hugs from Brent.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Not everyone's a winner.
Again, that's the last thing. You come to the Blizzard Arena, you just want to be left alone in peace to watch the games. You don't want to be
Fuck by Brent.
hugs Wendy.
All right, so you're dressed for the occasion. Let's talk about some bits. All kinds of colors on these leaderboards. Who caught your eye?
Well, it's always Atlanta Rain, always looking at that first spot, and the bits just keep on coming. The bits keep on coming. I'm not sure if we've ever seen a change here, really. Soul Dynasty currently on the 10th place, so it's always exciting.
Here's
okay?
where we
so
expect
excited.
some shake-up. It's on the individual board. Brad, go fast!
Wow, Pepino Bowman's still with a 50K. That's my personal favorite right there. Kobayashi Senpai.
He was in number 7 yesterday.
200 and number 3, and we got a new list of people. It's changing. It's turbulent. It's like the Pacific Ocean. You know, G-Chira, he was having trouble swimming over here, but he got there eventually. It's bad. It's dangerous.
His brain's broken.
These days. Listen, it's been a long day. I got my good friend Coca-Cola with me.
Now, the producer asked me to move along the show, but I'd like to go back and understand what just went through your brain here. Can you explain how we went from individual bits leaders to a main tank for the Chengdu Hunters swimming across the ocean?
Bro, I don't know.
That's why we brought him over from England.
The day has been so long, Bucket. I'm sat here and I'm just like, man, oh man. I'm looking at these numbers. I don't know what they mean. Like, are they going up? They going down? There's new people. You expect me to remember it from, I don't know.
Brent, I'm going to give you a break while I plug the fact that we have the Overwatch League All Access Pass. If you didn't know, it's on twitch.tv, and you still have half a season to use it. Coming up, we got a Q&A with Linkster after the show, and it's exclusively on twitch.tv with the All Access Pass. I coughed there. All right, guys, we're going to break. When we come back, we got plenty more to talk about, including the day's matches and which ones have these guys fired up. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
day 3 of Stage 3 kicks off tomorrow at 12 p.m. and we get a chance to see the Hangzhou Spark face off against the Philadelphia Fusion. The Titans, your Stage 1 champions, featuring that 14-0 record, take on the Atlanta Reign. Seoul Dynasty matches up against Guangzhou, and the LA Valiant are looking to show off their retooled rosters, going up against the Chengdu Hunters. But I gotta ask everybody here on the desk, which match has you most fired up? Let's start with you, Josh.
I'm really looking forward to seeing whether the Vancouver Titans can come out swinging here today. Or not today, tomorrow.
Almost today.
It's nearly today. Yeah, I think with Shock starting this stage looking a little sloppy, and New York as well looking a little sloppy, there's opportunity here for the Titans coming off a loss in the Stage 2 finals to be the only top 3 team that looks truly dominant again at the beginning of Stage 3. Now, whether that momentum carries on later for the Shock, for the New York, for the Titans, who knows? But I think it would be a good idea to feel the temperature of the Titans as they come out against Atlanta, the same team that the Shock went to a very long series against.
Brett, I'm going to take a wild guess.
Okay.
I have a feeling you're going to be going with Among and the Chengdu Hunters tomorrow. Am I right?
No, you're wrong, actually.
All right,
Yeah,
what do you got
got
for
it
me?
wrong.
What do you got for
I'm
me?
actually looking at game number 1, the Hangzhou Spark versus the Philadelphia Fusions, because this is going to be answering a lot of questions for me. Philadelphia Fusions, they've been a middle-of-the-pack team. They made improvements, but mainly looking at Hangzhou, right? I want to look at the Dad Shui, Gu Shui as he's known, right? Because this is a squad that is just on the up and up now. I kind of underestimated them a little bit in Stage 2. They showed up big time. They made playoffs. They ended up beating London. I want to see what more they've got capable of. So are they going to turn up? Are they going to rise to the challenge? We're going to find out tomorrow, I
Some
guess.
Primal Blades. Looking forward to that one. Last but not least, Zoe, which match are you keeping your eyes on?
I'm with Josh on this one. I really want to see Atlanta Reign taking on the Vancouver Titans because, and now bear with me as we do some mental gymnastics here. They managed to take the San Francisco Shock to a game 5. They managed to defeat New York 2 times in a row. If they now take the Vancouver Titans to a map 5, then they are clearly the 4th best team in the league, right?
Ooh.
That's how math works, so right?
I don't know about
No, that's in my little
What is
world.
it called? It's
Also,
like,
Houston also took NYXL to a map 5, so maybe we should just ignore
So they
going
are
to map
also
5
the
as a
4th
victory.
best.
Yeah.
No, anyway, I'm excited to see what they can bring. I want to see if Vancouver can stay dominant or if Atlanta Reign has just like the X factor. And that sounded really odd.
We know that Baby
That
Bay
way.
is ready for another challenge. She was tweeting about it. We'll
Exactly.
see. Can Atlanta pull off another major upset? I'm going to let all 3 of you go to bed very
Thank you.
shortly. Big shout out to everyone who came out to the Blizzard Arena, came out to all of the watch parties around the world, and of course, you folks watching at home and are partying in our Twitch chat. Remember, the Q&A with Linkser is coming up after this, but right now, I got to plug the fact my buddy Malik, he's getting ready before E3. He's back on the desk Saturday and Sunday, starting tomorrow at 11:30. We'll see him then.